Every video game has that one character that seems to be forgotten by the developers. Characters that are the underdogs and nobody seems to want to play as. In DBD's case, this character is none other than the twins, a French duo introduced in chapter 18, a binding of... Wait, that's the wrong script. But for real now, imagine a character that has been hyped by behavior for over a year, with the most amount of pre-established lore that even makes the Blight jealous. A character that is revealed to have supernatural powers to see things from beyond this world. A character that worked in exposing the Black Veil, the same mysterious cult that knows about the entity's existence. This character sounds pretty cool, right? Almost as if this character, if implemented to DBD, would be one of the most impactful Survivor releases ever. Imagine the same character being finally introduced as a playable one in DBD's most important time of the year, the anniversary. Let me present to you Haddie Kaur, also pronounced as Kaur, so I have been saying it wrong this whole time. Haddie is exactly everything I have previously stated, a character that behavior has been hyping up for various tome releases and is also one of the most important characters in the lore of the game. She is also the only original survivor that actually has paranormal powers, which means that she could have amazing perks with her. But for some very odd reason, behavior decided to completely drop the ball on her. Haddie is, by far, one of the most underwhelming character releases in the history of the game, and I have been playing since 2016. One glance at her and at her perks, and absolutely nothing tells you that this character is supposed to be a literal superhero, and in fact, the Haddie we have ended up getting is not the same Haddie that was hyped in the past, but an impostor. To make things worse, she is by far the character with the worst cosmetics in the entire game, with the only character having less being Quentin Smith, who literally has zero, and behavior completely set her up for failure from the start. To make things worse, she's already being completely put aside by another survivor that was released after her, Vittorio Toscano. How is it possible for this character with an amazing lore to be so neglected? Let's talk about the problems of Haddie and how this character became the most forgotten one in DBD. Admittedly, I will not be talking about the lore of Haddie a lot, as I don't want to bore you. If you're truly interested, I believe Pixel Bush video is the best lore video you can get, and in this video I'll just sum it up really quick. Haddie was first revealed in Tome 6 in the Chamber of Blood entries. In all of her entries, it is explained that she runs a podcast where she talks about paranormal activity that happens all around the world. She had the power to see things from beyond this reality, which she called overlaps. In her tomes, there are mentions of very weird creatures, including vampires. In fact, it seems like the Dredge and Haddie are also connected, as Dredge also has add-ons that are related to her, unlike any other killer in the entire game that is original. However, that's where the problems start to begin. The Haddie we got as a survivor in the anniversary is actually not the same Haddie that has been hyped up in the tomes, and there are a lot of differences between the two. The first difference is how her parents died on the first place. In the tomes, her parents disappeared mysteriously in a vacation when she was 5 years old, whereas in the game lore, her parents died in an accident and she always felt it was her fault. There was a theory before her release that claimed she was going to be a third Faria child, a group that was composed by 5 children, and we only know 2 of them, those being Felix and Elodie. However, again, this was deconfirmed by the devs, and she is completely separated from that lore. She was taken in the Alps according to her lore, but in the tomes, it was her friend Jordan instead. And besides that, there are some other differences related to how she calls the paranormal sites and how her podcast is called as. But it is clear that the Haddie we got is completely different from the Haddie we have learned about in the past. Now this is apparently canon because it is a fact that in Dead by Daylight's lore there are multiverses, but it's still a very weird choice to not use already established lore and instead almost retconning it. The problem is that even in the lore from the Survivor itself, there is a very weird problem. According to the Survivor lore, Haddie received a white streak in her hair due to stress, but if you look at the Haddie in-game, you can see that she has a blue streak of hair instead. To this day, there is no canon explanation as to why this happened. There are some theories talking about how the blue color of her streak is the same one as the deep rift cosmetics from the rifts, so it might be related, but again, nobody knows and it hasn't been confirmed yet. And since we'll have already started talking about her hair, I think it's a good segue to her visual design. Something that the developers have decided from the start is that survivors were always going to be purely visual characters and would have no powers related to them. This, in Cos, makes it so that playing as Dwight is the exact same as playing as Haddie except visual differences, as no survivors have passives or powers. So the only reason to play as one survivor in specific over another is if you as a player like them more visually. Haddie Kaur is lackluster. While it is really cool how she has a unique body type compared to the rest of female survivors and how she is Indian, that's where all the coolness ends. While beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I think most people can agree that her hair is very weird looking and her default appearance does not convey the feeling that this character is supposed to be a monster hunter. The closest two visual factors we have is the scars all over her body, which is an amazing touch, and how she takes out a EMF in her lobby animations, which gives her a lot of personality. No player is going to think that her hair is something important for the lore, as they will only think that she decided to dye it herself, but this is not the case, and her hair is an important part of her visual design, and it looks like all of her cosmetics are going to feature this same blue hair. For that reason, I think making her hair more special would convey the feeling that this is an important thing for the character and not a choice they made themselves. She does not look prepared to fight a scary monster like the Dredge. There is no tactical or ghost hunter attire, no special jewels or magic stones that she can use as trinkets, a body flashlight to see in the dark, or even a stake to kill vampires. I believe if she had a more tactical attire, more people would be happy to play as her, or even a prosthetic like Ash Williams, which combined with her scars would immediately tell the story of how she fought against a stronger enemy. As of now, she has a colorful pattern which is clearly going for a more Indian culture approach, but I don't think this should have been her default cosmetic, but instead a different one in the store. In fact, I don't know much about Indian, Punjabi or Sikh culture, so I cannot give my opinion on whether this was a good design or not, but apparently, according to one person that is Sikh, her default appearance can be taken as an insult to Sikh culture, as it's not well researched. However, like I said before, this is a topic that requires a more in-depth dive with more knowledge, and that knowledge I lack completely, so I'm not going to accuse behavior of something I myself cannot corroborate. But I am going to be completely honest, I think in Dead by Daylight, the absolute best way to convey a character's personality is through their perks, not by their visual design. Her default appearance is not an excuse to not have her convey her magic powers in-game. Every single post I have seen complaining about Haddie is just superficial, and it's shocking how nobody has ever mentioned how truly bad and uninspired her perks are. So let's talk about them. As it stands now, I would go as far as to say that Haddie is the character with the most lackluster, forgettable perks in the entire game. There is not a single perk that is very powerful or meta-defining, and even worse, she doesn't even have a single perk that has meme value. For example, Jane Romero is known as the one with Head On, Adam is the one with the Pebble or Deliverance. Haddie has no perk like that. Out of all her perks, I think Residual Manifest might have been the one with the biggest potential, yet it's just a boring perk overall. Unlike Pharmacy with Quentin, this one gives you a flashlight and also allows you to blind the killer and give them the blindness status effect. While this is a very interesting and never seen before mechanic in the game, it's still a very boring and lackluster one to give to a character that is supposed to have magic, paranormal powers. I completely forgot the name of this perk before making the script of the video, and I would like to ask you if you even know the name of this one. This is Inner Focus, a perk that allows you to see the scratch marks of the other survivors and allows you to see the killer's aura once a survivor around you loses a health state. To this day, I have never seen anyone use this perk once, even in a niche build. If you told me this is the least used perk in the entire game, I would believe it. Like, seriously, this is not an exaggeration to make the video funnier. I seriously have never seen anyone ever mention this perk, even in videos talking about the worst perks in the game. Even Buckle Up is more popular. No Mither, Premonition, like this is literally probably the most forgotten and unmemorable perk in the entire game, and I personally don't think the effects are that bad, to be fair. But the worst offender for me is Overzealous. Back when this perk was leaked, there was some talk by killer mains that were very scared of this perk becoming a problem. Turns out, thanks to some maths, the bonus this perk gives is so meaningless that there is no point in ever running it. Overzealous increases your repair speed after you break a totem or a hex, and you keep that buff until the killer hits you. It might sound amazing on paper, but that penalty is so high that it makes this perk a high risk, low reward that no player would ever use outside of very niche survive with friends groups with the purpose to have one designated person to use this perk. What pissed me off the most about this perk is that the literal patch after the anniversary introduced a balance change to a lot of perks, and for some reason Overzealous was on that list. This was literally released an update earlier, and Behavior already admitted that this perk needed a buff. What? It's not like they even had the stats to confirm this, because the perk reworks were already planned before the release of the DLC itself. So this perk was released in a very bad state and immediately buffed in the next update. To put salt in the wound, nobody uses Overzealous either because the buff was not good enough. Haddie's perks do not tell the story of a paranormal activity or monster hunter. They don't tell anything about her personality either. Look at how all Rebecca's perks are related to her being a supportive character. Or how about Yunjin, who has an amazing and clear visual design, and once you read her perks, you know this character is a selfish survivor. Haddie has no magic powers either, and this is something that really bothers me. How come a literal Starbucks TikToker has the power to boon a totem and give infinite healing to all survivors around it, or to hide their aura from killers? Even Vittorio Toscano, the next original character, has magic powers with the perk Potential Energy. A literal domestic terrorist has magic powers in the form of Boon Exponential, but not the actual only original character in the entire game that has had magic and used magic powers to hunt those monsters. How come she didn't receive any boon perks for her at the very least? Or maybe an entirely new mechanic like Potential Energy? Her perks are lazy, uninspired, just copy-pastes of past perk mechanics that have already existed in the game, with the only real feature being the blindness status effect on killers, which is still lackluster. Nobody is going to buy Haddie Kaur because all of her perks suck, and combine this with her poor visual design, and this already makes her be a very unpopular character in the entire game. But the worst part, at least for me, is how it honestly looks like Behavior set her up from the start. One of the things that greatly helps with the popularity of a character is their cosmetic selection. I bet a lot of players have started to play Blight due to the William Birkin cosmetic, or the Oni because of the Minotaur skin. Haddie got the shortest stick in the entire game. So let's talk about it. We have already talked about how her default cosmetic might not be the most appealing one for a lot of players. Well, too bad, because that's literally 90% of her cosmetics in the game. Haddie Kaur is the character with the least amount cosmetics as an original character in the entire game. Let's start with her default recolors. Honestly, at least for me, these are not so bad and they are cheap and varied enough to be usable. The problem begins with her uncommon recolors. These are some of the most boring recolors in the entire game. I originally thought that they were broken because the heads looked exactly the same for me, and it turns out that they were originally bugged as they were intended to change her jewelry to a different color. Now, they changed her earrings, nose piercing, and makeup. A lot of players were expecting a cool recolor of her hair, but instead, it's always blue, which disappointed a lot of players. The difference is so meaningless that my final verdict is that these recolors are scams. You might be wondering where her rare outfits are. Well, unlike every single survivor in the past, Behavior decided to give Haddie the artist treatment and lock her rare cosmetics for Amazon Prime. However, unlike with the artist, Behavior only gave out one cosmetic for her, and that's it. In the game files, there is still another rare cosmetic that has been unused since her release, and it's been 8 months already, and it looks like there are no plans to give it out to players. So already, Haddie is massively handicapped because 2 of her actual unique cosmetics are locked for new players. And the only cosmetic in the store that you can buy at any point is a very rare set that you cannot combine with any of her cosmetics. So as a new player, you literally cannot make outfits outside of her default recolors compared to the massive variety that other characters have. And the funny thing is that those are not her only cosmetics in the game. Haddie received one anniversary outfit for free back when she was released, which was an amazing thing for us that played on that event. For new players, however, this sucks because now they can only buy it on the next anniversary, and to be completely fair, the cosmetic is not that special. Her hair is basically the same and the body does not combine well with other pieces. The only other cosmetic she has received is the Christmas sweater, which is also now locked due to predatory fear of missing out tactics. So as a new player, you literally have absolutely zero choice on what outfit you can get for Haddie Kaur. All you can do is basic recolors of her basic design, and you can't even change her head at all. Now let's compare her to Vittorio Toscano, the character that was released after her and that was purely made in order to sell cosmetics from day one. Vittorio received a lot of cool recolors, as well as 2 rare outfits, and not one, but 2 very rare outfits. Vittorio was the first survivor ever released that released with 2 very rare cosmetics, so already on launch, Vittorio had way more than Haddie by default. Later on, he also received a Christmas sweater just like Haddie, but also an entire tome with 2 extra cosmetics and a Lunar New Year outfit. This makes absolutely no sense. Behavior already planned beforehand that they were going to give Vittorio a cosmetic on the Lunar New Year, and that he was also going to receive Rift cosmetics. They already knew that Vittorio was going to sell extremely well, unlike Haddie, and this brings out the question: did Behavior already know beforehand that Haddie was not going to sell at all? It truly feels like all the effort went to Vittorio. He was just released and he already has a massive amount of variety in cosmetics that Haddie players wish for. And for those that are going to bring the argument of Haddie being ugly, that doesn't mean anything. Quentin was one of the ugliest characters in the game and people still played him. Nia was considered so ugly that she was the entity. yet her cosmetic lineup gave her a lot of players. Haddie has literally nothing. And for those saying that they are not going to give any cosmetics for Haddie because nobody plays her, tell me the last time you saw a Jonah player in your matches, because he already got a cosmetic in the Rift and a previous cosmetic in a store collection. Haddie got literally 0. Feng Min on January alone got 4 different cosmetic outfits already, and it's just the start of the year. Haddie Kaur received a total of 0 new outfits for 8 months. The killer that came with her, the Dredge, received more outfits already and is planned to have received another one by the end of January. Hi everyone, MintSkull from the future here. While editing this video, apparently there are news that it is very possible that Haddie gets her first cosmetic in 8 months with Dredge on this end of January. So we'll see about that. Either way, I think the video's point still stands, and you will see my comment before I discovered about this at the end of the video. Michaela got a massive amount of free marketing to promote her. Vittorio got even more before the release of the DLC, to the point I would say that he is more popular than the Knight. There is absolutely no reason for Behavior to not add anything for Haddie at all. She will sell better if she has cool cosmetics. She will sell better if they spend their time marketing her like they did Vittorio. Honestly, what Behavior did to Vittorio was disgusting in my opinion and a blatant cash grab. As of now, the character with the coolest lore in the entire game is the least popular character as well. New players have no reason to buy her for the perks as they suck, and she has 0 cosmetic variety despite being an original character. This is how Haddie became the most disappointing character with the most wasted potential ever in Dead by Daylight. Please remember to not annoy the devs by asking them to add stuff for Haddie, as they have schedules and plans that they will have to follow by the letter. If the higher ups do not deem Haddie as important as Feng or Vittorio, then there isn't much that the community can do. Haddie fans will always be the loud minority that will not impact Behavior's revenue much. A single cosmetic on Feng Min probably gives way more revenue than Haddie's entire cosmetic selection. And I feel that the problem is so bad that even if she got new cosmetics, that wouldn't be enough to save her. Haddie has the same fate as the twins. Either way, I hope my video was informative enough for you to understand why nobody plays as Haddie. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.